Yo, what up, everybody? It's the emergency stream. Gotta give you the pew-pews. Thank you so much. We are here with Terry from Beyond the Slap. For those of you that don't know, as we say literally every show we do, you have to follow Beyond the Slap. It's the only place to get the best news. Holy crap. Holy crap. You dropped
big bomb, huh?
on it. Yeah, man. And, you know, you do it in your way, which is, hey, man, I'm just dropping the real dog, which is why we love you. You are Power Slap. You are everything good about this sport, man. So, God, I don't know where to begin. Okay, so let's just start. You dropped a video. And breaking down the news. Big changes happening. Big changes coming. Maybe even a cause for concern on some levels. Let's jump right into it. Let's start with what was the most shocking to me was the fact that you dropped the bomb that the Apex no longer is down to host Power Slap events, which blew me away because I thought Dana White, you know, was the Apex in that, you know, in the same way my car is my car, you know, and you were telling me that's not the case. And then what's odd is, okay, fair, but you would think they have a relationship good enough with Dana that they, you know what I mean, want to help him out there. Clearly that's not going down. What's up with that, man?
Man, I do not know the circumstances. I just heard, because as you know, Power Slap 13 has taken a while to take place. It was originally supposed to be in Miami, then Texas, and then they were talking about Saudi Arabia, and now it's finally landed here in Las Vegas. With that said, nobody even mentioned the Apex, but I heard that Power Slap is not really welcome there with that sport in the Apex building.
Wow, man.
Yes, sir. That sport is no longer really welcome there. Again, I don't know this to be fact. I answered a lot of fighters that have asked me a lot of questions, and I've done a lot of research, spent a lot of time. In fact, I discussed this. I've known a lot of these facts for well over a month. My first podcast with you, I talked about the number situation, if you remember.
Yes.
It's just that I finally came out with what I know, what I've heard, because a lot of people are asking me, and I gave my word when I know something, whatever I do know, I'll let you know. And this is the information I've gathered from a lot, not just one source, but many sources, many sources.
Yeah. And that's the thing about you, and that's the most important thing to remember, and why I'm only talking to you about all of this, is because you don't say shit unless you can verify it, unless you can go, hey, man, you know what I mean? You're one of those guys that your reputation is everything. So
I do my homework.
Yeah, man. You're not going to come out with this stuff unless you can verify it, back it up, unless we can pretty much expect it to go down. So,
I never will reveal my sources. I won't do that.
Yeah.
But what I will say is I was employed in that building. I'm not going to say how I was employed, but I've been in that building to work. And I know a lot of people there, and I'm also a local here in Vegas, and I know a lot of people here in Vegas in general. Again, I will never reveal my sources. I have fighters that tell me stuff. I just don't do that, man. Once I do it for one person and reveal my source, nobody will trust me. So, and people can take it for what it's worth. I don't come forward. Nobody's ever found anything that I've released that hasn't been true so far.
Correct. And that's the whole point. Like I said, that's why I really only talk to you. There are a lot of great folks in the business, but you know, everybody else seems to have an agenda, and I'm here to tell you, Terry's going to tell you, I mean, clearly what you've said could really mess you up going forward.
Yes, sir.
If you were lying about any of it, if you were just doing
Absolutely.
So, okay, why do you think...
Now, I do want to address one thing, and I won't call names, but hopefully he's watching, and I'll never, ever disrespect this person. It is a current champion, but he came out with a statement and said it has nothing to do with money. I want to point something out to that champion with respect, and hopefully he sees this. If it has nothing to do with money, look at your next match. It's a three-peat, and it's all about money because the guy you're going against is actually good friends with the biggest sponsor of Power Slap. It's all about money. And I mean no disrespect to that person at all, but this whole thing is about money. They didn't invest all this money for fun or anything like that. This is about making money. So I want to be clear, and that means no disrespect to that champion that made that comment that it has nothing to do with money. It is about money, and look at your next match. If you don't believe me, your next match is actually about money. Nobody And I mean nobody. I've interviewed a lot of people and asked them, do they want to see that match? And not a single person wants to see that match because you clearly already beat this person. But because of money, they're giving this guy a third chance. So it is about money.
Yeah. Yeah. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yes, and I mean no disrespect to him at all, because I love the guy. And he's very pro company. So, and I knew when I released this, he was the first one that came to mind that would be personally offended by it and would have something to say. And I knew releasing it that he was the first one that was going to comment something, in defense of them. But I want to point out something else to that current person, the person that's made that comment. If it wasn't about money, or if it was about money, do you think they're really going to tell you, knowing that your next match is all about money and they're giving that person an opportunity because he's good friends with the sponsor? Do you really think they're going to tell you financially that they're not doing well, or anybody on the roster for that?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely correct. It's not in their purview. It's what I've said recently a few times. Said it yesterday on a show, and then we talked a little bit about it on POWERSLAP Time Tuesday, but mainly got into it Wednesday with Cardman, and that is, this is a major mega billion-dollar conglomerate, right? That it's a sister company of. And at the end of the day, that company is going to control all. And like I had said, from my inside sources, as we know, pay-per-view buys are down and ticket sales down for UFC. Is it dire?
Yes.
No. Is it something to make, and the UFC is a publicly traded company, people forget, which means that you now have obligation to shareholders, and that means that if your numbers are down, what are you doing to get them up? Okay. Well, the CEO of your company has a POWERSLAP thing, and now he's doing a deal in Saudi Arabia with boxing, and we don't see any soon turnaround of these numbers. And the biggest thing we could get would be John Jones is still playing you, and you're not locking that in, which is your main job to do. Okay, man, you're going to have to let some stuff slide. What's costing you the most money and time? What is the most cost of your time and dollar bills that we can, do something with to get you back focused on the UFC, and you can keep your boxing maybe? So I understand that.
I want to clarify something else too, real quick. Now, people have said, man, why would you put your reputation on the line with this information? Yeah. Here's the answer. I'm good friends with all. I do not work for POWERSLAP. I'm not under any obligation with them, nor does any of my information come from POWERSLAP itself. It comes from POWERSLAP sources and people that work within, but not POWERSLAP. With that said, these guys are like brothers to me, a lot of them. There's some that don't like me, but I gave them my word when I found out something, I let them know. I've known this stuff for a little while and put together and confirmed a lot of this information enough now that I feel confident to put my reputation on the line to go ahead and let these people know, hey, this is what's going on. This is what I know, what I've heard, and what I've checked out. And that's why I took the risk. I wouldn't put it out there and put my reputation on the line for no reasons, because I care about a lot of these fighters. And I've done my homework on a lot of this stuff, on everything that I put out there.
Yeah, and once again, your credibility is unrivaled. There's nobody more credible than you who's independent. There's a bigger source. I mean, we'll mention him. Slap News. Great guys who do great work. No disrespect. Everybody else in the industry depends upon them because POWERSLAP does such a horrible job of press releases and getting their information out there. Or they're just getting fed. Slap News is getting fed directly by the organization, which I know they do get that information first. They get the first, drops. Because you and I both know we're behind the scenes and we get information and they're like, please don't share. Please don't share. We have to wait till Slap News officially releases it before we can talk about it. And we respect our sources and our guys, and we're not going to burn that. So Slap News just gets those hot releases. You know what I mean? Unless the fighter decides to release it. So that's what it is.
I think a lot of people know. They know that I'm going to release the information. They come to me, but they know that the information I let out is I'm going to do it in a manner that does not identify any of them. It's information they want to get out, but they can't do. Maybe a fight coming up, they're so excited they want it leaked so that it can be on social media and stuff like that. But they can't do it. But they know they're confident enough that if they give me that information, I'm going to put it out there in a manner if it's appropriate to put it out there. Let me be clear: if it's appropriate, if I feel it's appropriate, and it's time for fans to know. They feel that I can do it in a manner that does not identify them or get them in trouble. And not one has been identified yet.
I mean, look, You know what I'm saying? Babyface Power Slap keeps telling me he has huge balls. I don't want to put that out there. I don't want to know. I don't want to have to verify that information. You know what I'm saying? Kidding.
Have me into it.
Yeah, oh, he would love to. It's the no. Unless he had $100 in his pocket to pay somebody. No, don't let that in here. Any private parts. Anyway, sorry. This is a serious one. So couple things. One, clearly that relationship with Dana White and the people who run the Apex is strained on some level. That's concerning. We'll just leave that at that. And the fact that, I mean, if you would have told me, I mean, I still can't believe the Apex isn't down to host. That is nuts to me, unless they really don't believe in it. Because here's the thing, if it's not interfering with anything else, it's just a raw loss leader or money maker, right? Because you're getting something nationally televised, well produced in your arena, you know, in your venue. Why the heck not? Unless you really have an issue with this specific
Well,
thing.
you got to remember it. You got to remember TKO owns UFC. TKO owns it. They do not own PowerSlap. That's Dana White. So it's not really their building. I mean, they're allowed to train there and all that, but from my understanding, no events there. And to back that theory up, excuse me, is where have the events been for the past few months? Why didn't they take place in the Apex? You know what I mean? Why? There's your answer. Is the reason I'm hearing is why is because they're no longer allowed to have the events there. That's why. Because I've had actually PowerSlap Superfan is one that has asked, hey, why is it not at the Apex? Well, there's the best answer I've come up with based on my research. Is they're not allowed. They are not allowed there. It's a TKO owned building.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. TKO must be unhappy with Dana or really hate PowerSlap, because there's no reason not to allow it there on a basic business level. Clearly information we don't have on why they don't want it there.
Money. What are they getting out of it? What are they getting out of it? You know what I mean?
Loss leader for the event.
It's a big risk with no financial gain.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is some gain in that. It's a great loss leader for the Apex to build up the brand of the Apex. If you know 1 million people, rolling with numbers of 1 million people are going to log into YouTube and watch an event at your venue, right? Then it's awesome for you to promote and market that venue. And then the other things you have going on. And then that's free time because you're going to throw a ton of UFC ads and promo in, you know, that thing that you're doing and running on YouTube. So it's a great loss leader if it doesn't really I mean, because you're not going to make any the Apex is a loss leader in and of itself.
When's the last time you've seen a UFC promo in PowerSlap? There you go.
I didn't even think about that. Wow.
When's the last time you've seen a PowerSlap run anything for UFC?
Okay, so I knew I could talk about each one of the questions I have for you. We could talk for an hour. Enough of that. I want to get the facts and move on. This is journalist Mike, not, you know, just PowerSlap Mike. Okay, so we know that No More Apex got that down. That relationship, there's something there to look into if anybody wants to drop information or knowledge on that. Okay, and then we have the next thing I wanted to go over with you on that was the fighters, of course, the issue with the fighters. So you're saying that it looks like they're going to be sitting the guys under contract and bringing in basically temp labor, because, you know, the word was they were going to maybe switch PowerSlap to more of a WWE centered thing, a WWE feeder thing. I thought that was a brilliant idea in that you can take a PowerSlapper and turn them into a UFC star a lot easier than you could take a PowerSlapper and turn them, or excuse me, a WWE star. You could take a PowerSlapper and turn them into a WWE star way easier than a UFC star. Right?
Yeah, but the wrestlers they're bringing in are not like under contract. They're independent. That's the thing. They're independent free agent workers. So, you know, they can come in, they can do one show, one and done.
Yeah. Yeah. And
yeah, it's a lot cheaper. They ain't under contract with these guys, you know, long term. Nothing like that. They just bring them in, they can pay them. I said 500 as an example. Now, I know some of the fighters, the wrestling group, made $500 a day for training. And I use that as an example. I want to be clear. I do not know what they make per fight, but I promise you it's not as much as the guys under contract and PowerSlap. These are free agent workers. They come in, they fill a card. After you get your main event, build your main card, they come in and fill the rest. These guys are jobbers, as they call them.
Well, and hey, man, if you're a jobber and you're offered a spot on a card that 1 million people are going to watch and they're going to pay you $1,000 and you live in town, you're going to be able to sleep in your bed that night. And if you win, it's $2,000 and it doesn't interrupt anything else you're doing at all, really. Right.
Yeah.
Hey, man. And these guys are wrestlers, so they take bumps and bruises all the time. So a couple of slaps is not, they're trained to kind of take some hits. Maybe not as hard as slap hits, don't get me wrong, but they're still athletic enough where it's not going to be just a guy off the bar. He's going to get his, teeth knocked out, his, what I mean, that kind of thing. Because he trains a little bit. You and I both know training is a different game. And so, yeah, they come in, they get offered $2,000, a grand to show, a grand to win. It's
a lot cheaper than 10 grand as a fight bonus. It's a lot cheaper, So that's why they bring these training groups in.
Yeah, you're not flying them in, you're not hoteling them. It's a different insurance thing because they're not under a contract, so it's more of a it's a cheaper insurance you're buying for those guys. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, that's oh my gosh.
I know, man. A lot of this information I've known for a while. I just could not release it till I've confirmed it, or at least got enough to back it up. Because again, I can't just run out and tell my source. So I got to find another way to say, well, this is how I found out. I did this homework and did this. But yes, these guys. I interviewed a few of the wrestlers. I discussed it with them. Off camera, they told me what they made, and I'm just like, wow, that's a lot less than what they made, say, per day. To come in and do like Power Slap the season, things like that. So, it was definitely a lot less, and it's cheaper. They're indie workers. They're not under contract. They come in, like I said, work one night, job's done, they get paid, and it's a lot less money. And these guys are willing to do the work. They take the bumps anyways. They're willing to come in on short notice and do stuff like that, especially wrestlers.
And you can't. I don't fault them. I've known indie wrestlers. I've known a lot of indie wrestlers.
Amazing guys.
Hours for a $500 payday. Because
Absolutely.
You need the Riz, and nowadays we live in a clips world. And if they get that awesome clip, you know what I mean, coming off the top rope, and they're allowed to do, that's the setup for that match. They'll drive 10 hours for $500 to do that, Yeah. And I know a lot of pro wrestlers that $250 to wrestle locally in your hometown is a great payday, So they're happy to do it once a month. So. Yeah, offering him $1,000 in a YouTube and a shot at shaking Dana White's hand and letting him know you're out there and being in front of TKO, because there are people watching and you got to do everything you can to get those people to see you. And there's nothing wrong with what they're doing. But I hate it for the dang fighters, dude.
That's the thing.
Yeah, man.
I hate it for them, man. That's why I release this information. They deserve to know. There's going to be a few, especially from that promotion, who are not happy. They're probably going to be the ones that are well-to-do right now, the ones that are getting booked and stuff. But the ones that have messaged me and asked me what's going on, that's why I released the information. I did it for them guys. The guys that took the time to come over and do interviews with me, for the past year and a half, 2 years. I did it for them guys because they took care of me when I needed them.
Well, and when these fight, man, you know how it is. We develop relationships, and some of these guys
are
guys and friends. And they're like, man, I'm just waiting on my next fight. You're like, where, dog? We're going to, you know what I mean? On the media side of it, we're going to blow you up as much as we can, talk about how important you are. We're going to tag other posts and let people know as fans, as people who are such fans, we do podcasts about it. We want to see you in the ring. Maybe they're paying attention. Who knows? But we're doing our thing here. And quite honestly, I will say POWERSLAP does kind of listen. That's one of the great things about it. They do listen. If the social media movement says we want to see this match, you see that if it can happen, it does happen. And we love that. So next question, maybe a little trickier. You didn't really get into this, but what happened to the money? Didn't Dana White just come out a couple of months ago and say they did a double sponsorship deal bigger than any deal they had ever done with a big crypto company?
I do not know none about that. I'm unaware of that, so I don't want to comment, but
let me pull it up. Oh, yeah, no, this is not. I'm not making it up. This was.
I believe you. I'm unaware of that whole situation.
Yeah, it was social media press release that POWERSLAP just got funded, and this was right when they made the move to YouTube. So it would have been 12, I guess. 12? Yeah. 12 was the first YouTube one, right?
Yes.
Okay, so right when they moved to YouTube and they left Rumble, they said they just got a big deal because I think Rumble was maybe a huge sponsor. And they left Rumble and they got a crypto company and they had doubled the amount of money for sponsorship. I mean, this is the dude. We can look this up right now. I mean, this is.
I believe you. But the thing I will say about crypto is, again, they're good friends with Dana White from UFC. Keep that in mind. They also do have $50,000 cryptos bonuses over at UFC. So I don't know about that. I don't want to comment, speculate. That's where things becomes conspiracy theories and stuff. I'm unaware of that. And there probably is a lot of people that put in money, but keep in mind how much a production costs. Dana White doesn't go cheap on his production. There's all kinds of camera angles, and I mean, he goes all out. He's got big people. What's his name? Dan. I forget his last name. That does the commentary along with Bisping. So I mean, he goes all out on his show. He's spending a lot on it. So even though people are $10,000 or $50,000, that's minor. Keep in mind, they're paying more than that just in bonuses for fighters.
Yeah, I understand.
I mean, that's small. That's small. Even at $50,000, they might be investing a little in the company, but that's not keeping them financially secure. When their bonuses are giving away at least 2 or 3 $10,000 bonuses tonight, that's $30,000 there. So $50,000 is like small change. Keep in mind they're renting the venues, and those alone are very, very expensive.
Okay, you know what I mean? I'm with you, and I don't disagree with anything you're saying. What I'm saying is, I'm looking for the article right now, but I mean, I'm talking multi-millions of dollars, right? And I
see, I didn't know about all that.
Yeah. Let's see here. Dana White POWERSLAP sponsor. So here's the thing about it is that's fine. Right. But I think on behalf of the fighters who quit their jobs and built gyms and live on social media and trying to promote this sport so they can, make a living out of it. You know what I mean? I think it's only fair to go, hey, man, around beginning of the year, you know what I mean? You were saying that we're good to go and that, it's super powerful. And wow, man, I wonder if it's scrubbed from the internet. That's interesting.
Very possible. Now, I do want to point something else out. Now, again, I can't say names who it was. I know at least one watched a show, but within a 10-minute period yesterday, I got a call from one and a message from one, both saying, man, I think I'm done in POWERSLAP. And I asked them both why, and they started explaining, man, we haven't gotten calls, and I get response. And that's another reason why I said, okay, as soon as I got up, I got to go ahead and release this video, let everybody know what's going on. I talked to one for about 30, 45 minutes yesterday and let him know yesterday. And I know he watches your show. And he knows who the other person is because I actually mentioned to him the name because they're good friends. But again, man, a lot of fighters are wondering what's going on. I'm getting messages nonstop. Hey, what's going on? Hey, why isn't this event not have a date yet? So I kind of covered everything of why there's no dates, why there is no venues, why these fighters are not. I mean, think about it. Why would they be what other reason would they be bringing in all these new fighters when they got fighters undefeated who aren't ranked and are not getting booked at all? Why? Because these other fighters are cheaper, man. They're a lot cheaper. Did you find your article?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Once again, Twitter is life. I don't know. Let's see if this guy's a credible sponsor when it comes to sponsors with VeChain. This guy, do you think he's a credible source?
What's up, everybody?
I don't know who it is. I can't see it. Oh, hold on. Let me hit play.
EET Token are now the new title partner of POWERSLAP. POWERSLAP events will be powered by VeChain. They are a world-leading public blockchain platform. And for the first time ever, I am happy to announce that POWERSLAP events will now be live and free on YouTube worldwide.
March 3rd, VeChain. Just in, UFC Dana White's POWERSLAP signed sponsorship deal with blockchain VeChain network.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he's getting sponsors. He's got sponsors with tequila companies and all that. There's people investing in it, but what they're spending is not covering what he's spending. He's just spending. Oh, look at his fighters. I know this. I'll tell you this right now. I'm good friends with Ron, and I will say this. His first contract was 6 figures alone, just Ron's. And I know there's at least one other one that has 6 figures in his contract. I won't drop his name because I don't know how he'll feel about it, but I have discussed Ron's contract, and I can say out publicly that he is making at least 6 figures. So you're talking at least $100,000 there just for one fighter.
But he's a champ. Champs are different.
Absolutely. But I'm just saying, I'm giving you an idea of the expense. I'm giving you an idea of expense. Now, there's the other one is not a champion. He was a champion early on, I will say that. And he's making six figures, but he lost the belt real quick. He held it for one event. He got it in one and dropped it in another. But he's making six figures, and he got that six figures actually before he got the title or right after he got the title.
Right.
But there is at least two of them I know that are making six figures, and that was early on. I don't know about season 2 and season 3 or any of the new champions, what they're making. But, I mean, you think about that. That's $200,000 right there just for two fighters. At least. Look at what Paige Van Zandt's making. You know she's making six figures.
$1 million. Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So the expense of fighters alone is super, super high. And not to say they're not worth it, but I'm just saying he may have overspent himself on some of the talent.
Let's see here where Grok is going to find out for us. 12.6 million per year. 70.
I was in VIP. I was in VIP for PowerSlap 12, and VIP was not even full. There was 3 people in front of me, and Superfan can verify this because he was sitting in the same VIP that I was. A VIP was not even full there. So when they talk about selling out, I'm like, it is not selling out, man. I'm sitting right here where the fighters walk out, and there's empty seats. And I've been to a few events here. They're not selling out, and they give away a lot of these tickets, man. A lot of these tickets are given to people.
Are you seeing what I got up there?
I can't. I'm on a phone, so I can't really see it much.
Okay, so the sponsorship deal between Dana White's PowerSlap and V-Chain is reported to be worth $76 million over 6 years, equating to approximately $12.6 million per year. However, one source mentions a figure of over $10 million without specifying the duration, suggesting some viability in reported terms. Since the $76 million over 6 years is consistently cited across multiple sources, it's the most reliable figure available.
All right, let me be clear about something. You might have misunderstood me. When I said they overspent, they're making a lot of money. They just can't find anybody to pick them up, is what I'm saying. It's not profitable for like Netflix or Hulu because of the expense it costs to produce, these events and the fighters and stuff. They got money for PowerSlap. They got money, but it's not coming from like viewership or anything like that. It's coming from sponsorship right now. There's just not enough viewers, to get all that shit back in advertising and stuff. There's not enough there for it.
Right.
PowerSlap has, but Dana White has money. Don't get me wrong. He's not running broke. Yeah, he owns it.
But a CEO is not going to throw their. I mean, the reason a CEO is a CEO is because he doesn't spend his own money. The reason a CEO is a CEO is because he spends other people's money and figures out how to not have to pay it back. Let's just.
I don't want anybody to be confused. PowerSlap is in no way in trouble. The fighters, yes. I mean, he'll sell it. He'll get it. He'll dump it. He'll take a loss on it. It's the fighters that, are wanting to know what's going on. They're the ones that are kind of a little bit in trouble right now. Why they're not getting booked. They're finding cheaper talent. They can't afford the talent they got when they bring them into town. They got to book these guys. That thing. PowerSlap is not really running out of money per se. They just overspent for anybody to pick them up. Netflix will not pick them up with that. With the cost it takes for production right now. It's a new thing. It's not like WWE. Where there's a lot of people watching, people are not going to spend the money to watch that, so it's not profitable.
But they're all,
especially right now when it's free. It's free right now. Who's going to?
I can't let you do that without. I mean, I can't let you do that. You're on with me, brother, and I can tell you there are straight production deals, and that is what Dana White has for The Ultimate Fighter. So he could easily do that with Netflix, which basically UFC Productions, their people, completely send a finished product to Netflix, and all Netflix does is hit play on it, right? So it doesn't cost them anything other than what he's trying to sell that to them for, and he's selling that product to them. But that was the brilliance behind what he did with Ultimate Fighter, right? He owned it and sent to Spike TV, and if you remember when it started, he sent them the finished product. So he had complete control over it. Because if you let Netflix come in and start producing, they're going to have final say and editing say and production say. You don't want that. You want to control a guy like Dana White wants to control his product. I'll go to my grave saying that Dana White wants to control his product.
Absolutely. He will not cut the quality of it.
Exactly.
He will not cut that quality at all.
So the point there is that whatever with Netflix or whoever he's dealing with. The issue there is just what price he wants for the product, right? It is
He's
a
wanting too
product,
much.
but he doesn't need their production. He doesn't need their editing. He doesn't need their guys. He doesn't need any of that. Clearly, he's proven that. So that's why he's on YouTube, because he doesn't need anyone. However, once again, he needs to start turning a more of a profit. My problem there is that if he gets 76 million and he's sitting guys who make 10 grand, right? And that he has under contract that, have kind of committed his life to this. And supposedly everywhere says POWERSLAP is now funded to the tune of $76 million. Why would he be bringing in scabs, if you will, or $500 jobbers? You know what I mean? If he has, 12 million and they're not traveling. Because we know when he goes to Dubai, it's a profitable experience. When he goes to Saudi Arabia, it's a profitable experience. Those guys are paying out the nose. He's not losing money going there. He wouldn't do it. It makes no sense. So he's getting
I can't see him making a whole lot here, man. I don't know what it costs to rent a theater or an arena inside of these casinos, but the one he's at is brand new. They just opened less than a year ago, and it's a nice casino. It's probably one of the most expensive casinos here on the Las Vegas Strip. So I can't imagine what he's paying to rent that for one night. But I imagine if it's, if he's making 76 million, I imagine he's blowing through that pretty damn quick. I can't see how he's not, especially renting these venues and flying everybody overseas. I mean, that's not cheap. Round trip, flying overseas and book them in like these top hotels.
Fair. Saudi Arabia is paying him money, though. Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's making money, but he's spending too.
Yeah, look, I do not think he is losing money grabbing a bunch of restaurant workers and truck drivers and putting them on a plane and flying him across the planet to a desert to slap each other in the face. I don't think a guy like Dana White would be costing himself money doing that. There's got to be a profit margin built in somewhere, because those are the same guys he's doing his boxing with, which is honestly the most surprising of that part of this information, is that he is so in league and partnered with the Saudi guys. And I thought the Saudi guys specifically requested Dumpling and Hawaiian last time because they're into slap fights, and they wanted to see a specific one and they were willing to pay for it. So what happened there? Much like what happened at the Apex, we clearly know that's a TKO issue. What happened with POWERSLAP inside? I mean, dude, Saudi has crazy shit. Okay, Saudi has. Have you seen the goat? Like they have a sport where you're riding a camel dragging a dead goat. Like polo, but with a dead goat instead of a polo ball. Literally, they do crazy sports in Saudi. So what is the deal there? That is not a people object to POWERSLAP there. It's not a money issue. It's not a money issue in Saudi. It's not, bro. Come on.
I don't know what the issue is.
Yeah. So
I'm not sure what that issue is there, man. I just know it didn't happen. And I know that 14 now is no longer going to be taking place there. I spoke to one of the people that's participating in 14 event, and it's no longer taking place in Saudi Arabia. So do not know what happened. I just know it's not happening there.
Frustrating, man. I want answers. Because you're the kind of guy, you don't pontificate. You break down facts, and you love fighters. You love the sport. You bring eyes. But man, I want more answers, and I would love to know. The problem is you got to have deeper connect. You got to know somebody in Saudi Arabia to figure out why Saudi Arabia don't want it. You know what I mean? Or somebody close to that situation specifically, which can be hard to do in an organization as big as, TKO Entertainment. I get that. So, okay, and then golly, there was so much I want to talk to you about. We're rounding the corner here. So is there anything you want to say? And then my last one would be, our fighters, you love our fighters, brother. We've been able to do some great things, and we're friends because of the fighters mainly, and we appreciate the promotion. But what advice do you have to the fighters right now, if they're under contract, if they're dreaming of being a POWERSLAP fighter, any of that, you know what I mean? But they're out there in the other leagues, you know what I mean? Or they're sitting on the bench right now. What advice do you have to them?
Man, the biggest thing is this, and I've talked to, I'll even say it out loud, a couple of them. I talked to Zach, who they know as the White Hawk, who was one of the prospects just recently. But and I've said it in my Wolverine interviews when I talked to him about the financial side of this. The biggest thing is this: if you're if you love this sport, remember it's a sport for you, for us as fans, but for some people this is a business and they don't care about your financial future. Do not make Power Slap your lifeline. Make it a hobby, make it, a sport, anything like that, but do not make it a lifeline or you're in trouble in this sport, man. It's not designed. This sport was designed to sit and watch a full match while you were taking a dump in 60 seconds, 90 seconds. That's how it was designed. I talked to the creator of it. He said he designed this sport to watch it while you were taking a dump. If you can watch a full match in 30 seconds, how long do you think you're going to be around as a superstar? It's not designed to make superstars. Nobody's going to take hits to the head forever and last forever. It's not designed to make anybody a superstar. The fact that some of these guys are getting noticed is amazing, man. And that's a lot of the work on their own. But do not make this a lifeline for you guys. That's the biggest thing, man. Make sure you hold your jobs, do whatever you got to do. Don't go all in. Just remember, keep it fun, entertaining, but don't count on this to keep you alive because even wrestlers and boxers have to have a backup plan. Shit goes wrong.
Use it as a springboard. If you don't feel like you have anything else, if you feel like life is nothing without Power Slap, you understand you've got a great springboard. You've got a great platform to get 1 million people to follow you on your Instagram and Twitters and use that as a way. Get into something else. Learn to play an instrument. You know what I mean? Learn to podcast. Holla at me. We'll do a podcast. It'll be great. But seriously, use it as a springboard because you have a great opportunity in front of a lot of people. And you're going to get some dedicated fans that just like you, who whatever you're doing. I think Babyface, right? He's in a kendama. And I bet he's at a kendama world championship soon, chilling, hanging out. I will watch that because I like watching him. You know what I mean? So
he's good.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Oh, sorry.
We know, my man KO Chris is probably going to murder somebody someday. I'm going to follow him. It's going to be fun to watch. You know what I'm saying?
I love KO Chris, man. He's a great guy. He's a great guy.
I'm kidding. I got to make my do this what I do, dog. I try to make light of this, and this is so dang heavy. I'm glad we're here to make some jokes, let the fighters know we love them. Man, there's going to be some great opportunities coming up, but man, and okay, so just real fast, what about Missouri? We know Missouri is completely sanctioned, and you can throw all kinds of power slap matches there. Or excuse me, slap fight matches there.
I want to tell you something about Missouri.
I'm not saying names. I'm just saying the state itself has slap fights as a sanctioned sport that they allow to happen, right?
They did not approve Power Slap. Power Slap even tried to sneak an event there. They did not approve Power Slap in the state of Missouri. I know that for a fact. They tried to have a sneak event. They tried to have 13 there, and Missouri would not have it. I know for a fact on that because I know somebody on the athletic commission in that state. Power Slap made an attempt, and they were denied right away in the state of Missouri.
Well, and then my question to that, my follow-up there is, do you think that that's because they have an issue with Dana, or do you think that might be a political thing because they already have their own kind of home team?
I think it was very, very political, if you ask me. I think it was very, very political.
Because it's only one of you got to know. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, sir. I think it was very political.
Where do you see the sport going? And I will say this. I'll leave you with this. Just one of my informations. I already shared this with Power Slap Superfan. But, I know they're trying to come to Oklahoma. I work with a couple of people here in this state. And I know October, November was the goal. So we're still trying, man. And in fact, I've got some meetings I'm setting up next week as all this is happening to see if we can pull a trigger on something. Because, man, Oklahoma's doing a lot of investment into new things. And I think for where we're at, it's a great idea, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think the sport does this. I think they've learned from their mistakes. I think they spent a lot of money on some talent that they didn't utilize. I think they cut back on fighter pay and the amount of people that they have under contract in the future. I definitely see power sport lasting. I want to be clear. This is not a sport that's at its end. I see the sport because Dana White is a genius. I think he's learned from this, and I think he makes some changes. I think he's going to cut fighter pay some, pay more performance-based, and have less fighters under contract, more free agent type fighters. And I see it working that way long term, man. And there's some great talent. I get it. But I can tell you right now, Miles, Jackson, he had one fight, he was cut. I just found out about TJ Thomas. He won one match, he was cut. I don't know the circumstances of it, but there's people who are getting cut that haven't even lost. There's people that have not lost. They're not getting booked. And I think they learned, because if they book somebody like Bryce, I don't know what his contract is, but they're probably going to have to pay him a lot more than they bring in one of these wrestlers. And I think it's down to a money issue. I think they learn from it. They realize it's, they might be paying a little too much for these guys, and they're going to learn and cut back on the people on their roster and do more independent fighters and bringing in people to fill in them undercards. Much like they do UFC, they'll bring in people you see them one time, you never see them again.
Yeah.
On the undercards.
I want to bring this up. I know. I'm keeping you. This is the last part of it as we move forward. This is Yahoo Sports, and as you can see, this was posted on May 7th, so this month on the 7th. And of course, they're shitty about it, but report Dana White to launch pro wrestling version of POWERSLAP. If you thought the initial launch was bad, just wait. Anyway, these are the lists. They actually have a list of names here. I know you've talked to a lot of guys about this. You've been up close. You've been on the cutting edge of this, man. So can you confirm any of these guys right here?
Yes, I've seen the list. I believe almost every single one of them were at the training sessions here. If I remember correctly, I got most of them added on my list. There's like 3 of them I couldn't find, but for the most part, yeah, everybody that's on that list did attend, if I remember correctly, because I went and added them all on Instagram, checked them out. They all had pictures showing them in training and stuff.
And then just to do our due diligence, Maz on here, officially it was announced, that they were that he was signed, that he is signed, and he's going to be in a match on the 27th. So he's official.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that it's a contract. That just means they're signed for a fight. Just to be clear, I want to make sure.
He is signed to represent POWERSLAP on the 27th in one solo only match. So
absolutely,
that's it. So
and I want to be clear, and I think they go to that. Yeah. I think that's the move that they go to, is starting to do the single match contracts. That's how I see it working, because Dana does learn from mistakes, and not to say that hiring this guy was a mistake, but I think he kind of booked too much talent for him to be able to utilize all of them in the short amount of events he's having.
And maybe just realize you've got to run this as a different business model than the UFC. You can't run it like, you know what I mean? It's a different business model to make it successful. I just, man, I think, I don't know, man. Hey, look, man, I'm going to be honest, and I shouldn't even say this part maybe, but I am looking at investors, because I think it's a prime time to take some guys who've worked really hard. You know what I mean? So, and I just see, man, it's just wide open. If you can get the right people behind you right now, look, man, in my opinion, between the talent in certain organizations and the production of others, if you can bring that together in a smart and professional way, you're going to really have something. So, if we get that going, I'm going to need, you'll be the first guy I call, that. So
absolutely, Mike, I do got to get bouncing.
I know. All right. Thank you so much. That was it, brother. Thank you so much for giving us time. Wow, man, you are the bomb, everybody. Terry, thank you so much. I still want you Tuesday if you can make it, please. And,
yes, sir. Just remind me.
I will, absolutely. I'll remind you Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, brother. No problem.
All right, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Beyond the Slap, everybody go to it. Check it out. Guys, this has been POWERSLAP time, the emergency broadcast. Once again, everybody check out Beyond the Slap. Thank you so much, and we will see you Tuesday night. Make sure you tune in tomorrow with Vern White, the Card Man, and me on this very channel, breaking down the Cowboys of Moo Mesa on that Nooner Show watch party. That will be 12:30 Central Time. Thank you guys so much, and good night.
Oh, boy.